Welcome to the Hollis Chapman Show, where we celebrate the power of words and the beauty of storytelling. Join us every week. We have conversations with authors and small business owners. We have exciting lineup of guests who will take us on a literary journey like no other. Join us as we delve into the world of authors and small business owners from diverse backgrounds and cultures, each bringing their own unique perspective and voice to the table. From thrilling memoirs to captivating fiction and business startups, our guests will share their stories, their struggles, and their triumphs, offering us a glimpse into the rich tapestry of human experience. Immerse yourself in the magic of words and discovery as we explore the global literary landscape together. So grab a cup of tea, cozy up by the fire, and join us on this adventure of a lifetime. The Hollis Chapman Show is your ticket to a world of imagination, inspiration, and enlightenment. Don't miss out on the opportunity to connect with some of the most talented and compelling voices in literature today. Tune in and let the journey begin.
There you go.
Can you hear me now?
I hear you now, sir. Hey, if I'm talking loud, Jerry, I apologize because I got like three things in front of my mouth here. So I apologize, but I really want this conversation to happen. I really want to record it. So thank you so much for being the professional that you are. Awesome. Again, I was talking a little bit about you, award-winning advertising, branding, copywriter, very skilled. You work for the NFL. Yay, I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan, so anything NFL. You work for huge companies, so good for you. That's very excellent to know. You've lived in multiple big cities, and now he lives in the moment. So, guys, welcome to the show, Jerry. Tell us more about yourself and your new book, sir.
Well, you touched a little bit about my background: advertising, copywriter, creative director in New York and Chicago and LA and Austin and Dallas. It's one of those, I feel like I've done a lot of things in my life. I've written 4 screenplays, produced some TEDx events, and studied sketch comedy professionally at Second City in Chicago, and performed sketch comedy in New York and LA. I like to say those were some of Jerry's outside accomplishments.
Yeah.
And inside, I felt honestly, I felt like I was a little bit of a fake inside. But after all that, kind of looking back on your life, you look at, well, I kind of felt like I didn't belong, but after understanding a little bit more about my psyche and figuring out some of the things that triggered all that, I can look back and say, man, I felt there's a word for it back in New Jersey. It's called a fugazi.
Okay.
Yeah, I felt like a fake. I felt like a fraud, but nobody else knew about it, which was the interesting part.
Jerry, you say that fake fraud, and then when you're learning business and when you're trying to be an entrepreneur, you try to do things successful. What do we hear when we start? You fake it till you make it.
Exactly.
So you know what I mean? So it's point where I understand where you're coming from, but we got to fake it till we make it. You know what I mean? So I think that's what you're doing, but you didn't feel comfortable doing that, right?
Well, exactly. And here's how I look at it this way, and I put it into words that people can understand a little bit better. I believe we can fake it till we make it in the business world, but we cannot fake it till we make it in our personal life because it doesn't work.
Gotcha. I was reading your bio and stuff. You lost your mother, and we're so sorry for that. And and then you, in the same week, your fiancée broke up with you. Now, if you go to Jerry's bio, he's a handsome man, very dedicated, very practical. How do you lose your fiancée? And again, you don't have to get too deep in that, but I can understand how you start questioning yourself. What the heck did I do wrong? Because I'm a divorced person. So once you get divorced, you sit there and start questioning your things. What could I have done better? Because I know it was my fault because of the divorce. It's like, again, like you said, you went to therapy yourself, so did I. Just try to figure out, okay, what's best for Hollis? How can Hollis be a good husband next time? Is that what you went through?
Well, it's interesting because I was married and divorced twice, and then I was engaged to a woman for 4.5 years. And I thought that she was the woman. I thought this was the love of my life. This was the person I was going to spend the rest of my life with. Everything was great. And she
Yeah.
she was everything that I had hoped a partner would be. And then my mom passed away, and then 12 days later, I get a breakup email. So, needless to say, I was shocked. I was mortified, and that's where I hit the rock bottom.
Yeah.
And ultimately, and I'm just going to touch on what you just spoke about. What I found out about myself after I came up with the 7 words, and we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
But I found out that I was sabotaging all my relationships in my life, and it had to do with my 7 words, because everybody has their 7 words, but they're unconscious. So looking at what my words happen to be, I look back on all my relationships, and I realized how I was sabotaging my relationships. Now, I take 50% responsibility for sabotaging my relationships.
Right.
But everyone else I was in a relationship had their own 7 words. So I don't know if that helps at all, but I think that's. So I do. People. I ask people all the time. It's like, so you were married, you got divorced, men, women, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
A lot of times, most of the times, people say, well, he was a narcissist. She was greedy. She was selfish. He was, a bully. Whatever it is. So we all talk about what the other person was.
Right. Very good. Well said. Thank you for sharing that with us, because not only it helps me understand and just kind of think about a thing, but help others listening to the show too. So thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Yeah, your book has been getting a lot of attention lately for the unique approach of happiness and self-discovery. So talk about that, how you get that attention and getting the approval, how you put the book together.
So I'll follow the progression, if you will.
After
I hit rock bottom right after my mom passed away, and I got the breakup email. And there were other things going on in my life. I like to say I was juggling 5 and 6 balls, and I was dropping 4 and 5 balls. So I hit that rock bottom, and I was at the lowest point of my life. Honestly, I felt like I was a 32 car pileup on the highway.
Yeah.
But as bad as things were and as low as I was, I had started meditating 4 months before this. And I've been trying to meditate for 20 years and convinced myself that I wasn't able to meditate like everybody else who meditates does. Yeah. And so I was meditating during that time, and it felt like it was the only place that I felt safe. It was my only safe place was in meditation. And I go into the detail in the book, but I had 3 meditations that kind of really turned things around for me. There were 3 different meditations within like a 4 or 5 week period, but they were definitely instrumental in getting me to look at myself differently, and ultimately became the 7 words. You mentioned my background, advertising, copywriter, creative director, all that. So I kind of consider myself a collector, an inspector, and connector of dots. I'm a dot connector.
Yeah, that's what it says in your bio. Like I said, again, I look at your bio, look at what you've done. Very talented, but like a lot of times, and a lot of times I see these successful actors and actresses and done this movie, done very well, getting paid big, and been divorced 4 times. So I look at that and go, wait, she's beautiful, wealthy. She don't need the money. How is she divorced 4 times? So, and not me throwing names, but obviously we're doing something, like you said, sabotaging. You think maybe it's this point where she's so used to being a boss when she goes and when she goes to work, and she can't break that down when she gets home. So you know what I mean? So she's the conflict of how that is. You're so successful, but maybe you couldn't break it down when you got home, where you just been husband and wife or relationship.
Well, that's great, and that's a great segue into what I talk a lot about in the book, and when I talk to people about their words and counsel people on their words. It's everybody has their own 7 words, and our 7 words drive our persona, and they also drive our quote unquote story that kind of sabotages us. So there's in the book there you figure out what your 7 words